Hang on. Whoa. Hi. Hello. Sorry, that woke me up a bit. 1 second. 1 second. Lumia has added a bunch of stuff. Okay, cool. We're good. Stream live alert? What is this? Oh, I don't know. Alright, hello. Hello everyone. Sorry, I was just being very confused by desktop software. Welcome in. Hope you're all having a good one. My name is Pixel Riffs. Welcome to a Minecraft live stream. You've heard of them. It's Choppin Tuesday. We're going to be chopping some wood. I need to get back to my house. Lumia. Yeah, it's the bane of my existence, but also a very, very... Okay, somebody just redeemed that. That wasn't like a sub kicking that off. Broken physics! Everyone spam the word nerd in the chat. My stream deck isn't working. Thank you so much for 12 months in a row. The full year of support. Welcome to the Nerd Herds. Dogman Jack, thank you for the 8 months. Obu, thank you so much for the 4. Nixcraft with the 200 bits, Alpin with the 15 months, Jezagaya and Scruffy with the 100 bits apiece, T-Bro Fire gifting a sub, and Broken Physics with the full year of support. Enjoy your new nerds sub badge. Thank you very much for supporting the channel for as long as you have. Stream Deck, wake up. Satisia, thank you so much for the 2 months. I just need to post quickly on YouTube to say that we're live. And Choppin, and that'll do it. Let me see. Oh, wow, Queen Kiwi, thank you so much for gifting 5 subs out to the community. That is level 1 of the hype train absolutely shattered. Thank you very much, Queen Kiwi, and folks, make sure you thank Queen Kiwi for that very generous gift out to the community if you received a sub, or even if you didn't, if you just feel like giving some thanks. We're going to try and fill the new storage system with wood today. Today's trip to the Stronghold. TV/pixelriffs. Okay, we're all good. We're all good. Excellent stuff. Anyway, where are we? Let me catch up here. I just saw who that last gift sub was to. That's hilarious. That Rogue, thank you for the 200 bits. Akira Dota with the 15 months. Will there be a survival guide video on how to get the new advancements? Of course there will. Survival guide video on everything eventually. Let's turn the music down a touch more. Crazy 3001, thank you so much for the 2 months. And Shakespeare Girl, thank you so much for tier 3 for 17 months. Good gravy. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sending a wonderful wonderful gift to my partner the other day, by the way. I'm very excited for them to show it all off on stream soon. Right, let's get to it. I can close that because I didn't even start the timer. May I suggest try to get into the End Islands before killing the dragon? I've done that before, done it in the Hardcore series and in Empires, and I'm not going to do it in the Survival Guide simply because the Survival Guide has a more of a traditional approach to doing stuff for the first time. We will cover the fact that you can travel out to the End Islands by flying machine or by bridging, but we'll do that in another video once we have fought the dragon, opened up the end gateways, done things the intended way for the minute. That's kind of my approach to most of this. It's why I'm not leaping straight to like making TNT dupers to farm cobblestone and things. We're taking it slow and steady, you know. So yeah, today we're gonna be in the Survival Guide world. We're going to be running back from where I've just ended tomorrow's episode. So I've recorded another episode for tomorrow. We're obviously doing a few things this week related to the end and strongholds and gearing up for the dragon fight and that kind of thing. So I've gone out and found the other 2 strongholds that are in the Ring of 3, like the closest ring to spawn. Because I figured I would go and check those out, and one of them has some really cool stuff in it. The other one is kind of standard Stronghold, really. So I'm gonna be on my way back from the third one of those, which is where I logged out. So we'll run home and we'll do some standard chopping. That's the plan. So we're gonna log in. Will I make a survival guide video about raids? When will I make a survival guide video about raids? When it feels right. I don't really have a village that I want to throw to the wolves quite yet, but we'll see. And by wolves, I mean ravagers, of course. Yeah, I'll figure that out another time. I'm not in any hurry to, because the only thing that you really do raids for, aside from like once you've got a raid farm and you're doing like, let me farm a ton of emeralds or whatever from it, and witch drops and things like that. The main thing you're using raids for is getting totals on dying, and I've already got one of those. We haven't used it yet. I don't really use them very often, so frankly I don't see the need to do it immediately. But we'll cover that another time, because I'm sure there'll be opportunities to do raids just for the sake of it, because it's a thing you can do in the game, which is my other philosophy when it comes to making survival guide stuff, is do everything. Geronimo! Nailed it. Hillary, thank you for gifting 2 subs. Turtle Jockey with the 18 months tier 1 as well. Thank you very, very much for supporting the channel. Once again, anybody who gets gifted a sub, make sure you thank the very generous person who gifted it to you. But yeah, I still have a Google Doc mostly full of ideas for future episodes, and there's a bunch of stuff that we could have done before the fighting the dragon, but I don't want to have to do everything in the overworld before we fight the dragon, you know? I figured it was worth the wait, and I figured we'd do it for episode 50. I do have a whole stack of levels right now. That's fun. That's fun. Isn't Geronimo a bit problematic? If it is, apologies. I'm not really that familiar with the context surrounding that phrase. I think it's a Native American thing, right? So that's, yeah, probably not a phrase I should be using. Shulker's needed eventually, yes. Can't believe it's already 50 episodes. Yeah, it's kind of funny because last series I wasn't making 5 videos a week right at the beginning. Like, I started the 5 videos a week thing once I went full time, which was not for a little while, and obviously Survival Guide kind of took off at that point. So yeah, it's been like, it feels like a faster start and a slower start at the same time, because I'm making a video a day, but in terms of episodes, we've been covering lots of small topics. Will I design my own Shulker farm or copy from somebody? I would like to design my own, but obviously the mechanics require a certain amount of understanding. So it's the kind of thing that I will probably trial out in creative, and if it turns out I can't figure it out, I will make somebody else's farm with credit. But I feel like a lot of the more well-known farms out there, like, you know, Ilmango's one that Doc M built on Hermitcraft 8 and so forth, like, those are all intended for use on multiplayer servers where the objective is to get as many Shulker shells as humanly possible. Whereas I'm in a single-player world, and while, you know, a double chest of Shulker shells is an exciting prospect in theory, in practice, it's just going to lead to me making a bunch of redundant Shulkers, you know? Like, I will probably have enough Shulkers from my first end raid that will last me for a good long time. And then later, if we want to set up a farm, we can. It's also, like, farms are obviously multi-dimensional for those designs as well, so you end up transporting the Shulkers into the nether, and so I'd need, like, a camera account logged in to make sure the stuff happened in the nether correctly and everything. Unless it all happens fast enough that, like, loading in the nether briefly loads it for enough time that the Shulker will die. I don't think it does. Dragon fight when? Friday. Or, well, technically Thursday night for me, but we may end up streaming something different on Thursday, because on Thursday I'm probably going to be fighting the dragon, and I don't want to do the end raid on stream, because we need to do a video about that. And I don't make videos and streams at the same time, so we'll have to figure that out independently. We just did one. You don't have accounts log on. Were you on a server, though? Because server architecture is a bit different. Can throw those out. Where are we? Is the village near here? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I'm not certain how much of that stuff is going to work in single-player worlds versus on servers. So again, I'm just curious. But then I'm also, like I said, more keen on designing something myself rather than using somebody else's design, if I can at all help it. Where am I going? I'm going to, in theory, the village that we have out here in the savannah, so I can go home via the nether portal. But if I can't find the village, I may as well just go home by going to my home coordinates. Yeah, a little tiny bit of dripstone down there. Don't need the nether for the Shulker farms, only the most efficient version. But if I'm not building the most efficient version, then everyone's going to be like, what? And I'll be like, shut up. That's how it will go. How would a Shulker farm work, though? There's a finite number per city. So in 1.17, they introduced a mechanic whereby if a shulker shoots another shulker with a pellet, or even shoots itself with a pellet, there is a chance for it to reproduce. It happens more frequently when there are fewer shulkers nearby. So if one shulker ends up shooting itself, that has a pretty decent chance of generating another shulker. And the way the farms work is they transport those shulkers to the nether, where they're killed automatically by powder snow, I believe. But again, I've seen Doc M's farm in action, but I didn't exactly study the method for building it, because that was published in a separate tutorial video. So that is just one way of doing it. But basically, like, you will also find that shulkers in end cities now kind of reproduce on their own because of the amount of, like, bullets that are flying while you're in there. I think I've gone too far. I think I may have gone too far at this point. I'm not entirely certain where that savannah village is from here. So we might just head home, because the meadow is up there, and I'm like, that's not where we are. So yeah, basically shulkers can clone themselves now. Useless Rogue, thank you for the 6 months. Classy Phantom with the 6 months as well, halfway to being a nerd. Love catching up on the Survival Guide Season 2 every morning. I get to enjoy the game vicariously. I'm doing that with a lot of stuff right now. I don't have enough time to play every game out there, so a lot of people playing Sifu right now. That seems like a fun game for people to play. I've been watching a couple of other Pokemon Arceus playthroughs, but mainly because I don't have time to play it until, like, Friday. And, yeah, there's a lot of stuff I do that with, so you're not alone there. There's a design out there that uses scaffolding directly in the end for shulker farming. Interesting. Jacko, thank you for the 6 months as well. Just came from watching the new video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Glad that we found the Stronghold now. That feels like a big milestone out of the way. Obviously, the other big milestone is coming up at the end of the week. And, yes, tomorrow's video is going and searching for the other 2 strongholds, which I think is something that's interesting to cover, because while obviously people are going to know, well, we found 1 stronghold, so sure, you can go out and find the other 2, but there's some interesting facts in there about how strongholds generate on Java, and it's also good to know that you can do it as a backup for if your stronghold doesn't have a portal room, for whatever reason. It seems more common on Bedrock than it is on Java now, but I have seen a couple of people already say, like, oh, I went to a stronghold and it didn't have a portal.
Well, that's just prime.
Why not fight the Wither in the end? Not ready to fight the Wither yet. Like, we're going to do that in a whole different video. And frankly, I think the Wither's easier to fight if you're underground, and if you're underground, you're probably doing that in the overworld. Alright, back through the jungle then. On Bedrock, geodes quite frequently override the portal. Yeah, I've had... one of the strongholds I find in tomorrow's video that I found earlier today has a library that's half buried inside a geode, which is awesome. It didn't generate, like, absolutely perfectly, but it still looks really funny. And so, along with the 1 square of floating vines in the center of the stronghold corridor from today's video, I'm like... I just like collecting little examples of wonky generation, because there's another jungle temple. Let's raid this on the way home, why not? We know what jungle temples are at this point. Who remembers how to solve the lever trick? Anyone remember how to solve the lever trick? That's right, you just dig through the floor. We got a diamond! Incredible. And we don't have shears on us, so we trip this and get shot anyway, because it doesn't really matter. And then we take the free dispensers. Oh, 2 emeralds as well, very nice. One of these days they should put TNT in these. That'll show them. Free sticky pistons as well. That's for the peaceful players. Peaceful players must be quite happy that there's more jungles in the world now. Because it means more opportunity to get sticky pistons. And potentially sneezing pandas too. Oh, I love a dripstone pillar. Love, love, love a dripstone pillar. Excuse me. Oh, it's raining. Good thing we have so much cover from the trees. The real treasure in jungle temples is all the redstone bits. You're not wrong. It's really a rainforest now. It is. It's humid. Should make a map of my savannah village. There's already half a map because I got one from the cartographer. I just never finished it. Structure overhaul for the jungle and desert temples would be nice. It would be. I would honestly like to see them revise some of the structures. If not take out the current ones, then at least provide some variants. You know, a bit of variety. I switched clouds on for the screenshot the other day that I took for the Ender Pearl flying into the air for the thumbnail for today's video. And I just haven't turned them off. And so I've done an entire episode with clouds now, and I'm like, should I just play with clouds on? I don't know. Don't know how I feel about clouds. Twitch encoding doesn't like compressing rain. Boy, doesn't it. Doesn't really help for YouTube videos either. The worst for Twitch compression seems to be either like a ton of leaves, like if you're breaking a lot of leaves and there's particles everywhere, or planting flowers. I watched back through the Clash of the Creators VOD where I was planting a bunch of blue orchids and breaking them again. And boy, my bitrate really tanked when I planted like a stack of blue orchids in a square. It did not know what it was doing with that. A lot of people saying they like clouds. Yeah, I think I always left them off because they ended up flying through, like, hills and stuff. But the cloud layer is higher now. On Optifine, you can raise the cloud ceiling so it doesn't interfere with, you know, mountains and stuff. So it's, like, above the build height, which I think is an improvement, personally. The main reason I leave them off is so I'm not, like, walking up through a cloud if I'm climbing a mountain. And I like the idea of looking out above the clouds, the fact that they are actually rendered in the scene as something that you can be above. But even then, I'm just like, nah. Hey, what's up, Boz? Hope you're having a good Tuesday, buddy. Potato People Amber, thank you for the 31 months of Prime. Black Dragon with the 10 months. Appreciate you both. Thank you, thank you. My base is not that far away from the village. I know. Look at our little town. The sheep farm is on here now, which I'm quite happy about. Can also update this to include the storage room up on the hill until that changes shape, becomes something else. Slow Tuesday means you can watch the chopping action. Well, I'm glad to have you with us. Am I going to have tours every 50 or 100 episodes? I don't know. Right now there isn't a great deal to tour. I built like 3 things. But obviously we've been working on doing like smaller, more focused episodes so far. When we get into big build projects and things, maybe. Any tips to find lush caves? I mean, look for azaleas, and then honestly just travel the overworld. Like, if you're looking from an existing cave system... I'm trying to wait until the sun goes down, by the way, so I can sleep the rain away. If you're looking for caves in an existing cave system... then you're not going to stumble upon that many additional biomes nearby. You probably want to you probably want to just go and search the overworld some more until you see some lush cave scenery just kind of poking out from a cave somewhere. Mr. Beardstone, as I live and breathe, thank you for the 26 months, buddy. Hope you're well. Do I stream every day? Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Don't know why I said Wednesday. Yeah, 3 p.m. UK time. Every other Sunday, I also stream Dungeons & Dragons with the 8-bit community, so some Sundays I may not be here. What kind of tea am I drinking today? I'm pretty much always drinking English breakfast tea when I stream. It's just like standard UK tea for me. You know what, let's go to the storage room now. I'm tired of waiting indoors for rain to end. Let's hop down here. Past the cows. Up to the hill. Can someone explain why you can't find axolotls spawning in lush caves? I don't know. Sometimes they don't. We'll put this in here. We can dump most of it into the input chest, which I still don't have a way up to quite yet, but we'll deal with that another time. I have so many iron doors now. I've raided 3 strongholds. Have I ever tried chai black tea? Well, chai is just the Indian word for tea. I don't know what that means to you. I found the disc. Nope. No disc. I don't mind telling you right now, no disc yet. Do I want to connect my storage building to my base? In terms of, like, builds? Maybe. Eventually. I still don't know what the theme of this area is going to be exactly, but we'll figure that out as we go. I'm not rushing it. Chai is a little spiced compared to regular tea. Yeah, I know, but it's like a commonly served tea. There's string. Redstone inputs there. How do you make English tea? Black tea leaves in a bag. Bag goes in cup. Cup gets boiling water poured into it. Stir, remove tea bag, add milk. Done. Making tea in the microwave. Get out. Now I want tea. You and me both. But I have some, so. Alright, let's chop some wood. Let's chop some wood. Today, because I have very little of the wood types hanging out in here, I have the most of the dark oak, and that's because I chopped down like a bunch of trees to start putting these pillars and stuff in. Been working on a bit of a theme for this. Like, I'm trying to work out the aesthetic here. Not sure if we want to include some accents in the center here or something. But we'll see what we can do. Got these, which we can put in there and in there. This whole system is working very well, though. I'm quite pleased with it. Let's start by cutting down these, spruce trees. I think spruce and dark oak are probably the ones I need the most of, but we'll gather some of everything else too. Yes, gold blocks with dark oak. Gold blocks, dark oak, stripped birch or birch planks, sandstone, green terracotta. There's a lot of really good combinations there. Like, green and gold is a great combo anyway. Like, it's one thing the elves got right. What's up, Axionium? Welcome in. Forest fruit, black tea, and milk. I don't tend to have, like, fruit tea with a great deal of milk, but I guess if it's, like, just a base of black tea with a little bit of fruity undertone to it, then that's probably alright. Seeing all kinds of spoilers for survival guide videos. Yeah, sorry about that. That'll happen on these streams, but most of this stream is just going to be me chopping trees, so we'll try not to spoil any more than this. Do I like deep slate bricks? In the right place, yeah. I've not really got a dislike of any particular block. I need to find the right projects to use them on, but... Have Yorkshire tea, which tastes like a biscuit, has been dunked in it. You've had that digestive one. They've got like a toast and jam one as well. That I'm still not sure how I feel about it, but I would not be opposed to giving it a try. If anybody knows Yorkshire tea and wants them to send some stuff my way. Now I know how much wood you'll have. Well, this is all happening before tomorrow's episode, so you've got until then to catch up. Just miss a jungle tree type in your world. Is there any tips to find jungle? Honestly, if you're in the newer world generation, jungles are pretty much everywhere for me. You'll find them often at the edges of savannas or deserts. Usually savannas because they are like the mid-range hot biome. Jungles tend to be more humid, so you find them bridging the gap between hot biomes like savannas and deserts and other types of forest. Sometimes swamps as well. Weird to hear a southerner talk about Yorkshire tea. I mean, I lived in Yorkshire for 5 years. I went to university in Leeds and then just kind of stayed around for a while, working in bookshops and stuff. I want to thank you for being inclusive and just generally wonderful. Hey, thanks. Hey, no worries. I mean, it's the least I can do. Any idea where to find a good collection of styles for inspiration? I'm building in a desert and everyone just has desert-style collections like that and it's all the same. I mean, it's tricky finding stuff like that to begin with, but, like, in terms of Minecraft stuff, you probably want to be looking for inspiration outside of what other people have built in Minecraft, if that makes sense. Like, there's got to be, like, interesting concept art for desert civilizations from, like, fiction, TV shows, that kind of thing. Like, for Pixandria, I did stuff that was sort of vaguely Star Wars-ish, vaguely other bits and pieces. Part of it was even inspired by stuff like Age of Empires, you know? Cien Flores, thank you so much for the 11 months. Welcome back. Yes, redeeming points changes the background. That is the piece of software I was shaking my fist at the beginning of the stream. As a Brit, what are my thoughts on licorice tea? Well, I hate licorice, so I'm probably not the best example. Because I'm not really a big fan of licorice at all. Licorice is one of the flavors that genuinely makes me, like, physically sick. And that's not to, like, try and disparage anybody else's enjoyment of it, but, like, I have gotten sick from having, like, a licorice jelly bean before. It just, like, turns my stomach in a weird way, so I'm not the target audience for licorice tea, I think. Prairie Pirate, thank you so much for the 3 months. Welcome in, good to see you. One thing I've realized since joining the Minecraft community is everyone loves Age of Empires. I have not played Age of Empires for a very long time, but, like, Fwip and the others from the Empires server ended up doing, like, a multiplayer game of it not too long ago. I last played Age of Empires when Age of Empires 2 was, like, fresh out. And they've remastered it recently, but I'm talking, like, when it was current. Maybe I'm allergic to licorice? See, I don't think I am. I think I just don't like it that much. And I'll have, like, anise in other things. Like, I'll have licorice-flavored stuff in, like, you know, there's a bit of anise to season some Chinese food or whatever, and it's totally fine. Like, I don't think I have any kind of direct allergy to it. I think it's just a flavor that my stomach can't really handle. I like licorice, am I just odd? Absolutely not. Like, plenty of people like licorice. Nothing wrong with that. Yes, Kay eats the licorice.
I am the licorice disposal. We eat jelly beans, you hand me all the licorice ones.
It happens.
It's a good...
We don't have jelly beans that often.
Arrangement. No, we don't.
I feel like the other thing about licorice that I probably led me to dislike it more as a child. I think today it is just based on flavor, but it's also the fact that, like, I was a hound for sweets when I was younger. Like, I liked...
Sweets hound?
I liked a lot of candy, and licorice is the one candy that, like... It looks really nice and appealing, like, you know, Bassett's, whatever, like, or Dolly mixtures or whatever. And, like, you eat it, and I'm like, that's not how that should taste. The aroma of it is too strong. I'm like, I just want sugar, and this is giving me, like, additional, like, aromatic flavor that I'm just not into. I also don't like those, like, more floral sweets, like Parma Violets. Yeah. If anybody from the UK knows those, really not a big fan of those. Kay eats all of those as well. And like rose-flavored Turkish Delight, for example. Like, I'll eat the lemon stuff all day, but the rose-flavored stuff, I'm like, rose water just isn't a flavor I enjoy. But then, you know, other people are totally into that, so...
I will have those as well. Also, you don't like root beer very much.
Yeah, true.
I think there's been a couple that you've had, like, I think the Fentiman's root beer, you're like, this isn't too bad, but it's not something you enjoy.
The Fentiman stuff is just inherently different, I think, in some ways.
It's got a different flavor, for sure, but it's nice. But it's there's a lot of aromatic, root, earthy, weird smells that people think are, like, medicinal and stuff, because they kind of originally are in a lot of ways. And I like that flavor. and I get why people don't like it.
Tired Pumpkin says Parma Violet's a god tier.
First time chat had to chime in and was like, I gotta,
yeah.
I gotta stake my claim.
Gotta represent.
People shit on Parma Violet. Sorry, people. Sorry.
The tags say family friendly.
sorry. People diss Parma Violets and disparage Parma Violets.
Cover your ears, children.
People diss Parma Violets and disparage Parma Violets and talk down about Parma Violets too much.
If you want more of this, head over to twitch.tv/celerymin in about like a couple of hours.
I'm sorry. Yeah, people poop on Parma Violets. Metaphorically.
Yeah.
Maybe literally, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna leave now. I'm sorry.
I love you.
I'm tainting your stream. Taint. I love you.
Marriage, friends. Marriage. You expect them to walk in defending licorice. They end up cursing out your stream forever. So how is everyone? Now we've all been woken up by that. Celery swearing? I know. Hello from Madrid. Oh, wonderful. Madrid is probably my favorite European city. I'm afraid I don't speak very much Spanish, but welcome in. I really want to visit Madrid again at some stage. It was a wonderful time when we were there. What do I think of phantoms? I'm fine with phantoms. I sleep more frequently, that they're not a problem for me. So we should do a joint stream sometime. We've done a couple in the past. We've done the cooking stream together. We've done a couple of charity things in Minecraft together. Still need more coffee. Welcome in, Ravok. Get that coffee. Sit back and enjoy some chopping. What's the name for a biome with coarse dirt and acacia trees? I think it's just part of acacia biomes. I forget if there's like a specific biome name for it, but you do occasionally get like, is it like windswept savannas or something like that will have coarse dirt in them. New viewers just missed Pix's channel getting demonetized. This is only going up on VODs. VODs isn't monetized anyway, so... I play too much pretzel music that's not, like, YouTube safe or whatever for VODs to be monetized. Alright. Plenty of spruce going in. Used to be a shattered savanna block type. You still get it in some savannas. I just forget what the designation for them is now. This has been bugging me for a while. I need to fix this water source over here. I might even... Don't have any dirt on me right now. I might try and open this out a little bit more, because this just looks kind of odd. There we go. Can I say something in Spanish? No. It was just renamed to Windswept? Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. ¿Por qué? Because I don't know any. Like, I don't know how to conjugate verbs properly in Spanish. You okay there? The trans flat. It's okay. It's okay. We all have our days. You're in good company. Barachunk! 0.50 nerd. Very mathematical of you. Thank you so much for the 6 months. Jason, thank you so much for gifting a tier 1 sub. Maribel Jade with the 30 months. Cosmic with the 46. I saw Cosmics earlier and I meant to say something, but we were talking about licorice at the time. Thank you so much for 46 months. That's wild. How have we been doing this long is a mystery to me. Jason with the tier 1 sub as well, the double. Gifting a sub and subscribing. Love to see it. Yeah, we'll do a couple more over here. I think we've got enough saplings for a couple more. Come down. Got him.
That's just prime.
Gobe with the Prime sub as well. Brand new Prime sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Barachunk, there's not even a hype train. What are you doing? You take that back. You take those 5 gift subs back. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. What am I drinking? Bit of Yorkshire tea. Casual bit of Yorkshire tea. Alright, I wasn't even bone mealing that one, but thanks, game. Somehow managed to grow all these trees without any of them suffocating me. Yorkshire, what is your... Zoo? What is zoo? Yorkshire Gold or regular? I have Yorkshire regular for the moment. They haven't got any Yorkshire Gold at Sainsbury's right now. And I only get it occasionally if it's like on sale or something. It doesn't really make much of a difference to me. I'm not one of those people who can tell the difference between different blends of tea unless it's like really different. Like I can just about tell the difference between a PG Tips and a Yorkshire tea, but I'm not picky, you know? I'll drink anything. If it's black tea, I'll drink it. What's all the wood for? Stockpiling it for future projects. I basically like to have a decent amount of wood because you never know when you're going to need it. Everything in Minecraft needs wood. Not to mention the fact that I just built out a storage system and we didn't have enough wood to finish out all of the chests in there, decorate the area, most of which is going to require spruce and dark oak wood. So honestly, like, I just like to not be stopped mid-flow when I'm building. And the best way to do that is to get hold of as much wood as you can possibly carry. That's the way I tend to do it. Have I died yet? No, I have not. No deaths in this world yet. Can open the statistics in a minute and show you. Where is? Number of deaths, still 0. We've potted 5 more plants as well recently, so... Do I go through the trouble of controlling min-max heights of oak trees when chopping? Not really. If I'm farming oak, I tend to grow azalea right now, because that has a pretty decent, like, amount of oak per leaves. The leaves are also worth gathering. The maximum height is pretty controlled. And the saplings themselves, I find, need less bone meal. Like, bone meal in azalea doesn't take as much bone meal as the same amount of oak saplings would, in my experience. It could just be anecdotal, but I get the feeling that's actually the case. Am I totally satisfied with the new Minecraft update? Yes, I am. I do wish they had still found a way to include bundles in Java Edition, but I can wait for those. Is the big oak tree annoying for me? It depends, because sometimes I want a lot of oak leaves, in which case I'm fine with it, because the big oak trees generate a lot of leaves. It's the fact that they usually have so many, like, leaves per... Like, the leaf to actual log ratio is kind of off for me. You don't get oak saplings. No, but then if you're growing more azalea, you don't need to have more oak saplings. And I think azaleas look really good in flower pots or placed as decoration as well, so... Minecraft preview is fun. Yeah, we should have talked about that on the spawn chunks. It's one of the things I realised after the fact that we should really have mentioned. But because Bedrock is not something that either of us play that regularly, Joel even less than I do, we didn't really get a chance to think about it. Like, it's not been the number one thing. Anyone really like Podzol? Are you saying that from the perspective of somebody who does like Podzol, or you're like, who actually likes this stuff? Because it's got its place. Don't load your world, especially in the nether. Oh, why? Is it like, is the generation broken or something? What's so special about Yorkshire tea? Nothing in particular, it's just black tea, but people prefer it over other brands, and people tend to get quite opinionated about stuff they like. Podzol's good in planters, yeah. I think it looks good if you want, like, kind of like a wood chip kind of garden vibe. Reminds me of holidays to Cinder Parks as a kid. Yeah, it's got a kind of national park vibe to it. That's why I want to go back to that old growth pine taiga is what they're called now. It used to be mega taiga or giant spruce taiga. I want to go back to one of those and build like national park stuff there. Treasure Bastion not far from the portal. Nice. Will I cover the Wither on the guide after the Dragon? Probably not immediately afterwards, but at some point, yes. The Dragon is going to be this week. The Wither probably won't be next week, but it will be at some stage. I want to cover farming nether woods because it's got some more unique circumstances around it than just farming, like, overworld wood, like regular sapling growth mechanics. But I also want to wait until I have a beacon to be able to do that, because I find that farming netherwood is much more satisfying when you can insta-mine all of the nether warp blocks, and you can only do that with an efficiency hoe and haste 2. Unless efficiency 5 netherite hoes can clear up nether warp, but I'm not certain. Would I be okay with Bedrock with a parity? I mean, I'd prefer it not to be, but, you know. I think right now the main thing that's the problem with the Bedrock Wither fight is not so much the Wither's behavior, it is the fact that the health regeneration on Bedrock is much slower than it is on Java, so it's impossible to recover from the Wither effect without getting rid of it. If you have 30 seconds of Wither and you last all 30 seconds of Wither without, like, regeneration, then, yeah, no, you're probably going to die. The Wither's actual, like, phases in the fight and the fact that it dashes around everywhere and stuff is not that much of a problem for me. Bedrock Wither spawns Wither skeletons, and that's fine, because at that stage you can just shoot them from a distance with a bow, but... What Minecraft boss would I like? I don't really think of anything as, like... I don't think of Minecraft as needing more bosses. I'm not in this game for combat. If I was about fighting bosses, I'd be playing a different game. Always heard Bedrock Wither is a nightmare compared to Java. Yeah, and I don't think it's the Wither's actual attacks that are the problem. I think it's the Wither effect. Like, you've got to have buckets of milk with you to fight the Wither. The Warden isn't really a boss. Because, like, bosses kind of imply that you're supposed to go there and kill them. The Warden is meant to be a deterrent to just running into an area. Like, it's meant to be more of a stealth challenge than it is a boss. Like, it doesn't have a big health bar over the top of the screen the way the, Wither and the Dragon do, you know? Yes, I'm definitely excited for the Wild update. I'm looking forward immensely to the Deep Dark and Ancient Cities. Finally getting our hands on sculk sensors and doing stuff with that aspect of Redstone is going to be really cool. Like, the potential for modern builds is going to go up hugely with being able to use sculk sensors for stuff like automatic doors. Like, there are ways of doing that now. Like, there are definitely ways of having player detectors now. But sculk sensors are going to make those so much more reliable. And I think that's a really good example of a feature where Mojang implementing it isn't necessarily going to be a problem for player-created versions of the same thing. In the same way that somebody suggested implementing filtered hoppers into the game instead of having to build item filter circuits out of redstone, and I kind of thought, well, that would kind of diminish the amount of player effort that's gone into storage systems over the years. Whereas, like, player detectors have come in various different forms, and none of them are really, like, universally beloved, you know? Like, filtered hoppers are a thing in modded Minecraft, and people overlook that because it's modded and you don't have to play it that way, but if it's in vanilla, then I feel like the amount of time we've spent building filter circuits just feels like it becomes redundant at that stage. New Minecraft has 5G. I mean, it's got Wi-Fi now. Which is the harder boss to kill in Minecraft, in my opinion. I mean, in a fair fight, it's probably the Wither. The Dragon is obviously more difficult to cheese, but the Dragon is not a difficult fight, in my opinion. I think the only thing that makes the Dragon fight especially difficult is also having to avoid Enderman. But if you fight the Wither on the surface in Java Edition, in like a fair fight like that, it's still a tough fight. Like, if you're not that experienced with combat, it can take you out pretty easily. And I've fought the Wither in a variety of circumstances and still got killed by it, even when I thought I had full control over the situation. See also the Killing the Wither with Bees video. But yeah, on Bedrock Edition, it's definitely the Wither. But on Java Edition, I think the Wither also takes it by a margin. Personally think you should fight the Wither in the Nether. See, the amount of lava in the Nether is the thing that deters me from doing that. And the fact that the terrain is so breakable. But yes, I understand the premise of the Wither being like the Nether boss. Dripstone Wither insta-kill sounds like a very easy cheese. I mean, yeah, you've got that. You've got the end portal. There's all kinds of stuff. The Dripstone thing is difficult because of timing. Like, you can probably set it up so it's as easy as possible for yourself, but it does require an element of timing. Can you get the Wither into the Nether? I don't think you can put it through a Nether portal. I don't think the Wither is allowed to, like, travel through portals. But, I mean, you can summon the Wither in the Nether, yeah. Wonder if ancient debris can be destroyed by the flying skulls. It can with the blue skulls. The regular skulls aren't as destructive, but the blue skulls treat everything as though it has the blast resistance of, like, stone. Including obsidian, which is how come the Wither can break through stuff like that. Puts 3 Wither skulls in the Soul Sand Valley, turned the whole biome into a fat Wither. That's pretty funny. It's a Wither that's really living large. Living his best life. The only thing the blue skulls can't break is bedrock and end portal frames. We got mushrooms for one of those. If that's still a thing, I can't remember if it is or not. You'd be proud of me, chat. I kept the silverfish spawners in all 3 of my strongholds. In all of the previous strongholds that I've raided on Survival Guide 1, I ended up destroying the silverfish spawner. This time I have not. Because I figure if we're going to come back to it later, we could always try and build like a silverfish farm for no real reason. Alright, no ink for me. Fine. Thought I was putting that squid out of his misery, it turned out. Didn't need to. I'm going to grab my my fortune hoe for this one. Silverfish XP farm, the most redundant XP farm. What is the real purpose of silverfish? Bold of you to assume they have a purpose. No, I think they're just there to be just like a surprise. It's like a trap. Makes the stronghold a little bit more interesting. Same with mountains, I guess. But I've never been a big fan of silverfish. They don't really have much going on for them. The purpose is to be annoying. Silverfish with a rose farm? I mean, maybe. How can I play and read chat at the same time? It's a skill. You sort of develop it after a while. Right now I'm in a very controlled situation. Like, I feel like if I was having to concentrate on what I was doing in the game, then I wouldn't be reading chat. But I have a second monitor, if that's more of a technical question. I have I have 3 monitors in my setup, one of which has the game on it, full screen. The other 2 have, right now, Discord, Streamlabs OBS with the stream chat in it. Oh, sorry, just Streamlabs. It's not Streamlabs OBS right now. I am planning on switching to regular OBS, but again, I just need to find the time to port everything over. I can beat the Wither while reading chat. I mean, depends how the Wither was set up. Maybe if it was trapped under the end portal, but... Stream Elements does the port over you pretty easily. Yeah, I know there are easy ways of doing it. I know how to export my stuff out of Streamlabs as well, so I can probably manage that later, but... Lena Hun, thank you for the 8 months. Can the Wither break obsidian? Yes. Wither can break any block aside from end portal frames and bedrock. Do I have any song recommendations? What are you after? What are the leaves for? I mean, right now they're for turning into more saplings. I'm using Fortune, not Silk Touch, so I'm just breaking all of the leaves. Any song? I mean, give me like a genre at least. It's a little bit broad. Did I ever get the Hyperlight Drifter vinyl? They are reissuing it, I think, sometime in spring this year. A lot of vinyl production stuff has been delayed, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed back a little bit, but they did put it up for pre-order, and I pre-ordered it basically as soon as I saw that, so... A song that best exemplifies my specific musical tastes. Oh, that's a really tough one, because my musical taste has evolved a lot over the years. I used to be a lot more into rock and metal, and I still like those genres, but I tend to listen to slightly more mellow stuff. I like an upbeat artist, though. I made a Spotify playlist a while ago that was like 50 songs that I was like, this is my musical taste, and it's just got all kinds of stuff in it. You got recommended from CPK? Hey, nice, welcome in. Today we're playing some pretty bog-standard survival Minecraft stuff. We're just in my survival guide world, chopping some trees so that I have wood to use on future projects. My music taste is good music. I mean, I'm not going to claim that, because everybody has a different idea of what that is, but... Frontier Psychiatrist by Avalanches. There you go. Go and listen to that. Have a good time. Ever listen to Dream Theater? I used to. I used to really love John Petrucci's guitar playing. Back when I used to play, like, electric guitar a lot more, I used to really, like, idolize guitarists who could shred, you know? Like, the kind of crazy soloists out there. So, yeah, I used to listen to a reasonable amount. I still have a couple of their albums somewhere. I was trying to learn bits of Under a Glass Moon, but never really got around to it. A Blind Guardian the band who did the entire album that was based on the Silmarillion? Because if so, yes. Frontier Psychiatrist slaps. It's such a good track, dude. Like, I love the whole, like, origin story for Since I Left You. It's like, it's just all old records that they found in people's garages and bargain bins and stuff like that. And they just put it together into, like, some phenomenal tracks. It's really cool. Yeah, I really like Avalanches. I need to look into more of their stuff. That's the only album I have, but yeah, that's definitely a killer album. Be able to find the link to my Spotify playlist somewhere. I can search for it right now. I meant to set up a command with it ages ago, but I never quite felt like the playlist itself was complete, so I never really ended up sharing it anywhere, but there it is in the chat if you're interested. There's, like, some really weird eclectic stuff on there as well. There's, like, Penguin Cafe Orchestra and Ocean Size, and there's a bunch of video game soundtrack stuff in there. There's the Cowboy Bebop soundtrack in there. There's a bunch of stuff. Should we forward that to Chris? I mean, that's just, like, spoiling all of my future playlists, basically. It's 50 songs. And some of them that I've actually put into playlists for Chris already. Bone Trousel from Undertale? Yes, absolutely. Giant Ground Sloth, thanks so much for the 100 bits. Lena Hun with the 8 months. Axiom with the 200 bits. Thank you all. I think I mentioned Lena Hun already. I can't remember if I read out Axiom's cheer or not. I like Tool. I used to listen to them a lot more. I saw them at Download Festival in 2006, and they had just released 10,000 Days. It turns out me, Azuma, and Rendog were all at that same festival. Isn't that weird? Like, when we did the first, was it Clash of the Creators? I'm pretty sure it was. Me, Azuma, and Ren were all on the same team for an event like that. And, yeah, I brought up Download 2006 and it turned out we'd all gone to the same festival. Like, that was weird coincidence, but very, very fun. I want to see Tool live someday. They're decent. It's funny, they have such an interesting approach to live shows where there is almost a sense of, like, contempt for the audience, which is pretty typical of Tool in terms of, like, their general attitude to what they're doing, but, like, one of the first song they played in their download set was more or less, like, probably the least accessible track from the album. It wasn't like they were kind of playing the hits, you know? It wasn't like a sing-along kind of moment. Not that most Tool is, especially, but yeah, kind of funny that they chose to do that. Can someone repost the link? I'll post it in here. What's the general idea of this world? So this is the world that I have for my YouTube series, the Minecraft Survival Guide. I'm basically doing a tutorial series for as much stuff in Survival Minecraft as I can cover from a single-player world. And the idea is that we are just slowly but surely doing everything in Minecraft, more or less. Right now we're just chopping wood and talking, which is what I like to do on Tuesday streams, but over the course of the series we'll be covering everything from, like, early game stuff like setting up a base, enchanting, potion brewing, all of that stuff we've already done. We're about to go and fight the dragon at the end of the week. We'll cover stuff about the Wither fight and various other bits and pieces in the next month or so, probably. Yeah, like, the world builds up over time. We take on little projects here and there. We just kind of do whatever I feel like doing, really. But it's always from the perspective of making tutorials about it. Will I do another episode on different ways to die in the distant future? I'd like to do that a long way down the line if they've added more, if that makes any sense. Like, obviously the Deep Dark is going to add a lot of interesting ways that we can get killed by the Warden and whatnot, so yeah, I'll maybe look into that in future. A lot of this stuff is going to go in random chests for now until I've really figured out what the flow is with the storage system, so don't be surprised if I just tuck some of these things away in odd places. Like sticks will go in here for now, I don't know why. I need to go and get more bone meal from the mob drops chest in my basement. Yeah, the video to Frontier Psychiatrist is pretty wild as well. Do I like Radiohead? I like some of their stuff. I haven't listened to a huge amount of it. Like, I'm not the biggest Radiohead fan, but I like a lot of it. Will I be end raiding next week? Yes. So next Monday is probably going to be end raiding Shulker's, Elytra, that kind of stuff. And then basically following that, when we get back to the overworld, we'll talk about, like, how to fly with Elytra, which has become a lot more simple over the years, because you used to have to, like, jump off something and activate your wings as you were falling, and you don't have to do that anymore, so taking off directly from the ground is much easier. There's a bunch of stuff that's changed about that since the initial series of Survival Guide. Is there a band I haven't seen that I really want to? I don't go to concerts as much anymore because I just haven't really had the opportunity, and obviously the last couple of years has been like a no-go anyway, but I don't know if there's really musical artists that I would like to see as much. Oh, okay, that's our first tree branch to the face. I feel like, if anything, now I'd almost like to see one of those concerts where, like, an orchestra will perform a video game soundtrack. I've been to a couple of those, like, for the whatever anniversary it was of Final Fantasy VII, a friend of mine took me for my birthday to go and see the, was it the London Symphony Orchestra? Or was it, like, an ensemble like that, playing music from Final Fantasy at the Royal Albert Hall, which was wild and super fun. Can you demonstrate the punch bow method for old time's sake? Frankly, I never really got the trick of doing that because I was playing relatively soon. Like, I picked up Minecraft in 1.8 on PC, And in 1.9, I didn't really spend a great deal of time flying around with Elytra because it was all still relatively new. And then while we were still playing in that same world, I think the fireworks method got introduced, so I never really got the hang of flying around with Punch. I was always much more of like a pillar up and glide person than I was like actively flying around in the early days of Elytra. Will I build an Enderman farm? Yes, absolutely. Not next week. I don't think we're going to start like transforming the end for our own purposes that soon. But I'd like to do some of the stuff that we did in the last season, like manipulate an end gateway to generate wherever we want it to, that kind of thing. How good am I at making note block songs? I'm not the best, especially now they've expanded the instruments. But I know a little bit about music, so I can kind of hold my own. I just don't really have many projects that I need to do that with, you know? What am I working on for the next episode? Next episode's already recorded. I went and raided the next 2 strongholds because I wanted to show to people, you know, hey, this is how strongholds generate. You can basically work out from the location of one stronghold where the other ones are, and it's useful to know where there's multiple strongholds because sometimes your end portal might be broken, that kind of thing. What's my favorite music disc? I think Other Side, just because it's new right now, is probably my favorite, but Pigstep is also great, as of the other ones, the C418 ones. I like most of them, actually. I think Stahl is really fun. Cat is probably my favorite musically, because I really like that kind of upbeat style music. I've been using a lot more of Lena Raine's tracks in the soundtrack for Survival Guide 2, because I find her style of composition is a lot more upbeat, where C418's is a lot more melancholy. And Cat is the exception to that. Cat and Dog really are the exceptions to that from the first soundtrack. But I really like how adventurous Lena Raine's music sounds. Can't decide between Cat and Far. Far is one I don't listen to enough. Yeah, I might end up doing a lot of netherite mining in future. Maybe not for a full beacon, but probably for other projects. Like, I'd like to build with netherite blocks just because we can, you know? I think resource blocks, frankly, stuff like diamond and gold blocks and things, are underrated for building with. And it's because if you put more than 1 or 2 of them together, they start to look like, you know, a 5-year-old has built this because they just wanted to spam the most expensive or the prettiest block. And that happens to be like, let me build an entire house out of diamond blocks, right? But I think as accent blocks, they can prove really effective. Like the Foundry build on Empires had a diamond block in amongst a bunch of beehives, and I think the contrast between those 2 blocks was always really cool. So I might do something similar at some stage. Can I make a video on how to trap skeletons and creepers? Yeah, Music Disc Farm is going to happen at some stage. I was almost going to lead into that for like a musical interlude this week if we found the Other Side disc in one of the strongholds, but unfortunately I did not. Will I use iron blocks to build? Almost certainly. I think iron blocks are probably one of the best looking ones for like utility, because they kind of look like a polished garage door, you know? And so I think iron blocks actually look some of the best for, like, you know, implying functionality. Compared to the diamond blocks, which don't really look like much other than a full, solid block of diamond. As long as we've got enough dark oak saplings that we can replant, we'll be okay. Don't need to fortune all these leaves, but I prefer to. Especially if it means we catch some of the logs that have got caught up. What are some mods I'd like to see in vanilla? Honestly, I don't know enough about modded that I really have an answer to that one. I'd like to see some of the stuff that they said they were going to add to vanilla and then didn't, like bundles. But I'm not the kind of person who wants, like, massive automated storage systems to just be, like, 3 blocks from a mod, you know? Like, I'm a lot more invested in the effort versus reward balance that Mojang seems keen to maintain. Always the ether for me. See, I wasn't into Minecraft at a time when the ether was, like, super popular. So I remember a couple of people playing it as part of mod pack playthroughs that I saw back in the day, but I never really got into it myself, so I don't know the pain of trying to light a glowstone portal with a bucket of water or whatever the thing was. Would love bundles. I don't want to go to the end. It's just not my thing. That's the thing. Everyone equates bundles with shulker boxes, and they're not quite the same thing. Bundles are really for organization more than they are for storage, but depends how you want to use them, of course. Like, I'm not going to rock the boat there, but... What a graceful dive. Yes, a graceful 360. Square this off a little bit. There's probably a couple more saplings around here. I should get the scaffolding as well. I never use scaffolding enough for this. I need a longer hoe. I need a ladder is what I need. When do you think we'll get new texture changes to blocks? Probably not for a while, because they seem quite happy with the texture set now. As of whatever update it was. 1.14, I guess? Was it Village and Pillage introduced the new textures? A rare time we get to see the cactus farm working. It's doing alright, though. I've been away from home, so it hasn't had a chance to really grow much. Yes, efficiency 5 hoe will take out nether wart blocks. I have efficiency 4 on this right now, so might have to test that. Are we talking Bedrock or Java as well? Because the two are different for time to break on certain blocks. If that's a Java thing, though, then that's very good news. But either way, like, we'll get a beacon eventually anyway, so it's not my chief concern right now. Definitely works on Java? Okay, good. Good to know. Good to know that I can talk about nether wood farming before we can talk about beacons. Before we have to talk about beacons. Looking forward to renewable clay from mud. Now they just need renewable sand somehow. See, a while back, when we were voting for, like, what biome to update next at whatever Minecraft live event it was, one of the changes that could have happened was an update to deserts. And I am kind of curious if they had any kind of renewable sand method in mind for that update. Because deserts were getting, like, meerkats, palm trees, and, I don't know, something else. It wasn't tumbleweed, was it? Because that was Badlands. I can't remember what the last thing was. Hey, Frog Queen, welcome in. You join us mid-Choppin Tuesday. Hope you're having a good one. Love that clay will be renewable. Yeah, I've been finding a lot more clay from lush caves and stuff as well, so overall, clay is trending up for the game in general. How many stacks of wood do I usually aim for? I just chop wood until I'm bored or until the stream is over, which is usually like a 3-hour thing. But right now I'm mainly just looking to fill up as much of my storage as possible so that I don't have to farm wood for a while. Means I can take less time to do off-camera wood farming in my videos, and I spend a bunch more time on stream being able to chat to people, so I think it's usually a good balance. Want them to add owls? Owls would be awesome. Scott's Major would be very happy. Hoping to not lose power during the storm. Oh gosh, yeah, stay safe. And I hope it all blows over for you without incident. I know there's a lot of folks in the US and Canada experiencing storms right now. I know my friend Joel is over in Nova Scotia, and he's had a bit of stormy weather going on. It's also less awkward to just use wood in a video, and it's fine than having to explain finding an enchanted golden apple and a cutaway to a stream VOD. Yeah. Yeah, it means I don't get myself in trouble if I just cut down a bunch of trees on stream. No, not Smallish Beans, Joel. Joel Duggan, who I do the Spawn Chunks podcast with. What difficulty do I play on? We're on hard in this world now. It started in normal, but then I changed it to hard so we could do the villager zombification stuff with 100% reliability, and I have not changed it back. It's not locked on hard, but it has stayed on hard ever since. And at this point, I can't switch it to peaceful or anything because we have an iron farm set up and the zombie would disappear. Didn't know Joel was here in Nova Scotia. Yeah, he lives in or around Halifax, I believe. Hope I'm not, like, doxing him too much. He's talked about it before. Choppin Tuesdays, your favourite streams to watch or listen to. Just chill chopping at him with reflective commentary and chat. That is what we hope to provide here on Tuesdays. I feel like it's a nice way to start the week streaming for me as well. Because normally my Mondays are a bit more hectic. I've got the podcast recording and an episode to do. So it's nice to do something a little bit more relaxing. Not that the podcast recording is especially stressful, but you have to come up with something to talk about for an hour or so. Will I lock on hard difficulty? Probably, eventually. I do want to do an episode about what the different levels of difficulty are and what they mean for the game and stuff. Because I did that episode 100 and something, I want to say, of the original series. I think it was after we'd fought the Wither for the first time. So in this case, I'm going to be doing the Wither fight on hard, and I'm fine with it. Like, the difficulty doesn't bother me that much. I just want people to know what their options are. Oh, Cooler Cacti. Yeah, that was it. The desert update had something like that. Because it was more or less like a tree, a block, and a mob for every region except mountains, wasn't it? I think it's something like that. What do I do on weekends? Right now I play a lot of Pokemon Legends Arceus. But honestly, on weekends, I do a variety of stuff, really. Sometimes I just veg out and watch all of the media that I haven't had a chance to catch up on. Usually if Hermitcraft is going on, I spend a lot of my Saturday doing the Hermitcraft recap. So it feels less like a weekend and more like a weekend job. MP Steel, thank you so much for the 12 months. Everyone spam the word nerd in the chat, please. Enjoy your brand new nerd sub badge. Thank you for the full year of support. Welcome to the Nerd Herds. Loving Season 2, even after watching all of Season 1, I'm still getting refreshed on things. Yes, there's too much information in this game to keep it all in your head at once. So, I'm glad you're enjoying Season 2. Thank you very much. But yeah, I I've been playing a lot of the Pokemon game. I catch up on other games that I don't have a chance to play during the week. You know, go for walks, cycle if I can, that kind of stuff. Boring adult stuff. Someone was asking why I don't stream some of the Pokemon game. The main reason is because I feel like I'm not necessarily going to be using my time as wisely as I do by streaming Minecraft so that I can set up for upcoming episodes of Survival Guide. But I also use a capture card to capture the input from my camera, and so if I streamed from the Nintendo Switch, I would have to use the capture card for that, and then that would change a bunch of stuff about my setup, and I wouldn't be able to stream it with a camera, which would be kind of different. I'd have to acquire additional equipment so that I could plug my camera in. Have to get one of those, like, dedicated, you know, built-in capture cards with 4 HDMI slots and stuff. Sir Newton, thank you so much for the 2 months. And Unknown with the 100 bits. Thank you very much. Weekends are for groceries, laundry, cleaning, and cooking. Yeah, basically. That's usually what I end up doing. Do I know any easy ways to kill the Wither on Bedrock? Not really. I believe some people surround it in Obsidian. The Wither has a harder time getting out of Obsidian on Bedrock than it does on Java, to my knowledge, but I'm not really the person to ask for Bedrock gameplay tips. I recommend checking out Prowl8413, Blue Jay Games, and Silent Whisperer for those. Or any of the folks on Truly Bedrock, really. I think Silent is probably the expert on killing the Wither right now. End Portal works on Bedrock. Does it? It never used to. Or at least people told me it didn't, so I never tried. May also depend on your version of Bedrock, because I know some stuff works differently per platform. Handful of iron golems with strength 2 potions. That's fair. Golems are pretty hefty. They can take a punch. Beardstone is knowledgeable on version differences. Yeah, Beardstone's a good all-rounder these days, because he, I think he prefers Bedrock Edition, but he definitely plays both. You can cheese it with Bedrock on Bedrock Edition. Okay, cool. Good to know. And Groover killed 4 Withers at the same time. The thing about having 4 Withers is, do they fight each other? Like, I can't remember. I don't think Withers do target each other, because they don't target undead mobs, which includes themselves. But, it'd be pretty funny if they did. Am I ever going to show how you can break the end portal frame with giant mushrooms? Maybe at some stage. I don't know what I would do that for, other than just, like, customizing the end portal room, because I'm not certain about, like, you know, sand duping methods and that kind of stuff. The kind of thing that you'll find people doing for technical reasons, but you'll also find potentially forbidden on multiplayer servers, and it requires kind of cannibalizing sections of the end to do. It's not the kind of thing that I'm especially experienced with, so I don't tend to do it all that much. Diamond Trash Bag, thank you for the 9 months. There's a mod that could be added to Minecraft. Like, make another Minecraft death guide in this season. Somebody asked earlier, and I probably will when we end up with more death methods being added to the game, because that video was relatively recent as far as the first season of Survival Guide goes. And so there's, I think, like, Dripstone has added a couple, because obviously it can fall on you and you can fall on it. The Warden is going to add a couple more. I want to be able to, like, show people some new stuff, instead of just repeating the same video beat for beat. Have I ever tried a speedrun? No, I've done a couple of things that are similar, but always for different objectives than just complete the game. But I'm not really that interested in picking up speedrunning. Like, there's a lot of people who do it already, so I feel like I'm not, like, filling a gap in people's content in the same way that I am for making a fairly comprehensive survival tutorial. Try to get blown up by a snow golem. Yeah, there's a couple of really interesting ones involving snow golems. Like, a snow golem can actually kill a tamed wolf, and that's the only way you get the message of something being killed by a snow golem. Other than, you know, if a snow golem throws a snowball that gets set on fire that ignites TNT, but even then I don't know if it counts as the snow golem's kill or not. Can kill someone with any renamed item by punching. Was once killed by Fancy Pants. Very nice. Snow golems can kill blazes, but a blaze's death message won't appear in the chat. So you never get to see, like, a message that says such and such was killed by whatever. Like, I presume that that will show up in the console logs, but F-Toomj, thanks so much for the 8 months. Subbed as long as typical polar bear gestation periods. Twitch polar bear baby, question mark? How old is this world? I've been playing in it since the 1.18 update was released, which was back in November, so I guess it's coming up on 4 months, maybe? Can also measure it by episode numbers from the survival guide, because every 5 episodes is 1 week. Since you looked at me. What if you rename a blaze? Same thing. Like, it doesn't work unless you tame it as a pet, which is why it works with wolves, because if you tame the wolf, it's like wolf was killed by, was like pummeled by snow golem, I think is the death message. Again, it might show up in the console logs if you name tag it, but it won't show up in chat. Do you think the Warden will be farmed to extinction? No, because I, first of all, don't think the Warden's going to drop anything, so there's no real point in farming it. I expect people will probably want to, like, assert dominance over the Warden by finding ways to generate it in ways that kill it, but we don't know what anti-player measures the Warden actually has yet, so I'm not certain that we're going to have the opportunity to kill it as often as people might want. Like, if the Warden has a way of surviving in lava, then I feel like we're all in trouble at that point. Warden can be killed by lava. Does the Warden exist in the game yet? Like, is there a playable version of the Warden for anybody? Like, if anybody's modded the Warden into the game, that doesn't count. Because I feel like we should wait for a version that's actually, like, the one the Minecraft developers want to put in the game. Before we say things like, the Warden can be killed by this and that. Just pillar up Lamau. Like, it doesn't work that way. There's an Enderman and a zombie around here that have been here for like the last 5 or 6 times I've been past. I'm like, why are you here? Do I want an end update? Of course. Like, I want all kinds of updates to this game. Like, I think the end is probably on Mojang's radar for an update. I don't know when, but they've even talked about it in some of their Q&A videos on YouTube, where it's like, we don't know what we want to do with the end yet, because the whole point of the dimension is that it feels kind of empty and desolate. How do we keep that vibe whilst also filling it with things to do? So I expect it'll be a while before we see an end update, but it's going to be a pretty important update when it happens. What would I add to the game if I was a developer? First of all, I'd have to learn how to code, so I have no idea, to be honest. Like, I don't have a great deal of fantastic ideas for Minecraft, I just like playing the game. Like, there's so much stuff that I would think of that has either already been done by mods or just wouldn't be compatible with Minecraft as we know it. One of the first things I would do would probably be to change the enchantment glow. But that's more the art team's side of things than the gameplay team's, so. What's with the square box of sand in the river? That's a little kind of pool off the side of the river where I was demonstrating how the area of treasure from fishing works. So like the area around your fishing bobber that has to be clear for you to be able to get treasure and not just fish. We're going to create lore for the new series like I did in Founders Forge. Maybe. I think one of the best motivations for continuing a build project, if it's just built for aesthetics and not like functionality, is to come up with some kind of story that's going on that gives you a solid explanation for why you're building what you're building. Like, it makes a lot of sense. For example, that dripstone cave that I'm planning to build in once I've got things like shulker boxes, I have the ability to move more materials around, so I'm not like going back and forth or bringing everything with me when I want to move to a new area. We're probably going to build some kind of mining operation there, and like, you know, a way to figure that out is, what are these people mining? Is it precious materials? Is it the dripstone itself? Like, what are we doing with that? So I expect we'll come up with some sort of vague idea of story just to propel things along a bit, but it's not going to be like, I'm not role-playing in this world, you know? What are they mining? Their own business. Very good. How long do I think I'll be able to produce one video per day? As long as I can, really. As long as some projects are going to be okay split into separate videos, like into multiple videos. Like, I did that with the Guardian farm in the first season. It was like Guardian Farm Part 1, Guardian Farm Part 2, you know? So as long as I organise my time well, I should be able to do that for a while. Is there no way to auto-farm wood? There is. I'm just not at that stage in this world yet, and I also like farming wood manually. Right now I'm collecting dark oak because it's a wood that gives a lot of blocks per tree, and I get to build a lot with it because I'm building with dark oak in this area. It's also a good utility wood because you get a bunch of it. Building the art for the Magic the Gathering card Grim Monolith. Now I can get dripstone easier. Don't know off the top of my head what that looks like, but some of the art from Magic the Gathering is super cool. So some of the artists have like art station pages or portfolios online that can provide some really interesting inspiration. The Fence Gate Nightmare, yes. And there are other Guardian Farm designs out there. I might try something a bit different this season, but again, trying to design that stuff myself instead of relying on other people's designs. I don't know how I feel about the Guardian Farms that transport all of them to the Nether and kill them there and then bring the items back, because I feel like, again, those work better on servers than they do on single player, and having a camera account in there to monitor stuff is not just preferable for them operating, but is also like a better way of demonstrating what's happening. So it's more difficult for me because I don't like opening this world to LAN and having camera stuff flying around if I can help it. How did I start making Hermitcraft recap? ZloyXP invited me to do the voiceover for it. We were on the same Minecraft server for a couple of years. Back on Decidedly Vanilla. We met in Season 2. And he took over the Hermitcraft recap at that point and wanted to know if anybody from Decidedly Vanilla felt like volunteering to do some voiceovers. He was writing the script entirely by himself. I just recorded what he wrote. And I ended up doing... we ended up, splitting the script between us, co-writing it, watching half of the Hermits each just to cut down on workload for both... workload for him and for me to have a better understanding of what was going on, so I wasn't just reading these words without knowing what they meant. Always forget actual scaffolding is a thing. It's very useful. I don't use it as often as I should, because I think more often than not I end up placing it in spots where I break it, a couple of blocks fall on top of the leaves around here, for example, and then some of it ends up despawning and I end up with less and less every time I use it. It's the problem with scaffolding, really. Do I watch Critical Role? I don't. I've seen a couple of their Campaign 2 stuff, and being a D&D player, I know what Critical Role is. You can't really avoid it. It's not something that I actively try to avoid or particularly try to seek out. It seems like a cool thing. It's just one more thing I don't have time for. How'd I get into D&D? Probably from the Adventure Zone podcast, more than anything. My impression of D&D was pretty much all from shows that would make fun of people who played it. Like the IT Crowd, for example. I know there's a fairly infamous Big Bang Theory episode about it, which I've never actually seen, because I've seen 2 full episodes of the Big Bang Theory in my life, maybe. But yeah, The Adventure Zone podcast was probably the first thing I heard that was people who were being, like, irreverent about D&D and, like, openly mocking it while still having fun playing it. And so I was like, oh, okay, this isn't something you have to take super seriously and be, like, a total math nerd about. Because I'm not very good at maths, so that was not necessarily my cup of tea. All of the sort of add up all of these scores and everything. And obviously the fact that you can play it online and you can have stuff calculated for you is especially helpful. But yeah, the Adventure Zone really got me into the format, and then I got curious about playing it myself. I figured, since I had a bit of money lying around, I was like, how about I buy the, like, player handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide and stuff, because they still have really amazing art in there. It's all like, you know, Wizards of the Coast know all of the amazing fantasy artists for stuff like this, for Magic the Gathering and D&D and all of the kind of official games they put out. And so even if we didn't get into playing the game ourselves, it was going to be a fun resource for, like, inspiration for Minecraft builds, for example. Like, there's a lot of really neat fantasy landscape stuff in there that seemed like it would be worth trying to reproduce. But then, yeah, a couple of our friends got together, and me and my partner, we just ended up playing a D&D game. And we are resuming that relatively soon, actually. We haven't played for a long time, but next Saturday we might be able to do a session for the first time in a while, so it's going to be fun. Brain likes to optimize stuff too much for me to feel comfortable with D&D. Don't want to ruin others' experiences. You'd be that friend who's like, I have to min-max everything. Which is fair. If you know your limits, then that's fair enough. But it's about finding the right group to play with. Like, there might be other people who are super into that as well, so... You want to play, like, a really gritty, number crunchy kind of game. Have I ever played Talisman? I have not. I feel like the name is familiar, but I haven't played it myself. Have I played Valheim yet? No. I haven't got the time for more survival games than Minecraft, to be honest. Like, grindy, miney, crafty survival games. There's just one of those in my life right now. The Psycraft of D&D. Number crunching. Yes, exactly. Problem with min-maxing D&D is it's super easy to make characters do a lot of damage, but making them durable is hard. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of min-maxers who put all of their points into, like, Constitution and HP, and if they do, they're barbarians, and they also focus on attacking, so... Why are bits more expensive on mobile than on PC? I think it's to do with the fact that the store has to take a cut if you're buying on mobile, and so Twitch has to pay out more to, like, Apple or whoever in order to have purchasing virtual currency be part of their experience. And so they charge more for it so they can keep making the same amount of money. Have I played Rocket League? I did for a while back when it was first sort of starting out. I haven't played any of the more recent stuff because it's like free to play now and there's like a mobile version and everything. But no, I haven't played Rocket League for years. And no, I haven't watched the Critical Role animated series either. It's cool that it exists. Like, that's really fun. But yeah, I've not watched any of it. And the stuff I've watched from Critical Role has mostly been Campaign 2, so I feel like the Campaign 1 story isn't going to resonate with me as much. Want to play D&D, but I don't know where to start. Honestly, it's about having the right group of friends, and friends who are willing to give it a try. And if you don't have a friend who already plays D&D and feels like DMing a game, then you've got to be willing to step into that role, if it's the kind of thing that you'd enjoy doing. The players like quick start guide thing, like the sort of starter set, has a pre-written module in it that if you're not gonna like make up the story yourself, then there's a pre-written story in there for you. Reports vary on how good it is. Am I still deforesting my world? Absolutely.
Well, that's just prime.
I'm just deforesting one very specific part of it that I'm instantly replanting. Dilla Red, thank you so much for the 2 months. Too much watching Chopping Tuesday, etc. Really enjoying it. Hey, thank you. I'm glad. Pre-gen modules perfect for beginners. There's some GMs you can hire for reasonable rates. Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that. There being a market for like Sherpaing a group through their first D&D session. Yeah, we do ours over Zoom. Like, we have to, more or less, because one of our players is in America and the other is local to us, but, you know, with COVID and everything, we wanted to keep playing, so. I started D&D basically at the beginning of 2020, right as lockdowns were beginning, so we've played one session where 3 of us were in the same room and only one of us was on a remote call. And, yeah, since then we have not been able to meet up in person, so... Always love the word Sherpa for no apparent reason. I picked it up from Destiny, from like the raids, because I did not have a whole fire team. Like I didn't have 6 people to play Destiny with, so I used to go looking for people who could like guide you through the raid effectively. Did we do the calligraphy? No. Kay has not done the calligraphy yet. I believe that's what they might be doing today. I'm not certain what they settled on, but the stream should be starting about now if you want to tune in. Can you hear them talking in the room next door? Plan to add a shulker unloader to my storage system? Maybe eventually, yes. I don't want to overwhelm people with technical stuff about shulkers right away, but there's some cool stuff we can do with them. Now that GTA 6 is confirmed, will I play it when it comes out? No, I've never really been into the GTA style of games. That kind of sandbox is not really my jam, you know? Am I reading later? Not if the calligraphy is happening today, because there won't really be much to read. But if they're continuing with... the actual text, then maybe. Don't know yet. I need to go and mend this, so I'm just going to hop across the ocean to the spider farm. Jerome, if it's fine, like, please do. Entirely fine. Have I done a video on where all the ore spawns now with 118? I haven't done one where it explains absolutely everything. We might get into that later. I do want to go mining in mountains at some stage so we can get loads of emerald ore as well. But I've done diamonds because obviously diamonds are the thing people look for in the early game. But really I'm much more about like the progression of Minecraft right now before we talk about the overall picture of things. Where do I get my background music from? This is all coming from an app called Pretzel. You can get it for the desktop and it's... useful for streamers because you can tie it to your stream. It gives attribution in chat and it's free, copyright-free music, so no DMCA strikes or anything like that. It also, as you can see, integrates with Nightbot, so you can run a command that Nightbot will remind people what the song is. Yeah, there's other people who've made videos about the ore distribution. Sliced Lime is obviously good because he's actively responsible for some of it in a way. I know he's more of a tech guy and not like a gameplay guy, but sooner or later I will find a formal entrance to this. I'll probably end up building a nether portal, but I kind of like the shambolic way I come down here in the meantime. I found so many dead tropical fish around here as well. I think they spawn in the water source up there, and then they just, like, fall into this pool and suffocate. Been a while since we've been back here. Haven't really used this farm all that much. Put a staircase in. Can I do a video on building cliffs? Yeah, we'll do stuff like that. We'll do some terraforming. Does the automatic sorting system I made in Season 1 work with barrels? Which one? I've made many. But yes, if you're using barrels instead of chests, it should all work roughly the same, because it's just a storage container. Like, it doesn't really matter which storage container you use. The dead fish fountain. Well, we get tropical fish in this whole setup as well, so they're all swimming around in there. Get XP eventually. There it is. Why the fence gates? Because if you get within a block of these guys, they poison you. Cave spiders have a phenomenally big reach. My 3-year-old Ben is quite excited you're going inside a cave. Toddlers love caves, I mean. I think I'm making a Furnace XP farm at some point. The thing about Furnace XP in Java is it's less exploitable than it is in Bedrock, because it doesn't multiply. I know that's being, in theory, removed from Bedrock soon. But, yeah, I mean, we can still get XP from smelting stuff. We just have to figure out basically an infinite farm, like a cactus farm or something like that, that's just going to be constantly smelting items for us. Forgot this farm even existed. I mean, we only did this a couple of weeks ago as well, so it's kind of hilarious that we're already at the point where we're forgetting stuff like this. Yes, Bedrock furnaces multiply XP, or basically, like, every time you take an item out of the furnace's output slot, you are getting the XP for every item that furnace has ever smelted. It's technically a bug on Bedrock Edition right now that has been used as a feature for a while, or kind of like overlooked for future updates, because it's just useful when Bedrock players don't get as effective mob farms and mob spawn rates and stuff as Java does. Found a huge iron vein converged with your first stronghold. Very cool. I didn't actually look for like huge veins around the strongholds that I found. But I do have a geode intersecting with a library in one of them, which is really fun. Tried building the iron farm, but the villagers don't want to panic. Are you playing on Bedrock Edition? Because it doesn't work on Bedrock. I did leave a Bedrock Edition farm in the comments. Not the comments, the video description of that video. I tried to signpost in the video that it didn't work on Bedrock Edition, but that was towards the end of the video, so apologies for that if you're a Bedrock player. The let us do it or we riot bugs like the nether roof and TNT duping? Yeah. It's unfortunate that the Bedrock community isn't often more vocal about that stuff, or at least I don't see it. But I just follow a couple of Bedrock players on Twitter and I see them raising a stink about that stuff. Foxy and Prowl and everybody is always, you know, always sharing their opinions about stuff changing. Bedrock spawning is half to 3/4 lower. Yeah, it's the mob density stuff. Why is XP locked on 64? It's not. I'm currently holding an item with mending, and the XP is going to mend the axe instead of going to my levels bar. So, like, for example, if I put the axe out of my hands, if I grab XP from a bunch of these, then my levels go up. But the whole point of being here is to mend the axe. Yes, Loblo Alien, I do have a video on this exact farm. It's, I want to say, episode number 20 or 25 or something of Season 2 of Survival Guide. Am I hoping to make a more powerful XP farm soon? Yeah, I mean, once we've done the end, that opens up Enderman farms, which are enormously powerful XP-wise. We also have the option of making a Pigman gold farm on the nether roof, which is, I want to say, a lot more survivable when you have Elytra, because it involves building it very high in the air. But we'll do other bits and pieces here and there. I would love there to be a double skeleton spawner somewhere, but I have not yet found a single skeleton spawner. How about a shulker farm? Not for XP. Not for XP. Bedrock doesn't require villager panic. No, Bedrock Edition iron farms work like the old Java Edition iron farms, where you need 10 villagers and a bunch of doors, or whatever it is. It's weird how, like, because I had to build one of those iron farms for the first sort of wave of videos of Survival Guide, I got quite familiar with iron farm mechanics, but then 1.14 changed it all, and I have completely forgotten how to build a pre-1.14 iron farm. Zombie Pigman farms feel more endgamey? Yeah, they do. It is episode 25. Okay, good. Skeleton spawners are so useful early game, I don't feel bad cheating to look up where they are in your world. Yeah, fair enough. If it's a quality of life thing for you, then go for it. What was the change? So in 1.14, in the Village and Pillage update, villagers were... Their behavior was modified so they would produce an iron golem more frequently in order to make sure that villagers were protected, because you had stuff like pillager raids. There's a few other kind of things in Village and Pillage that were a threat to villagers. And so you only needed 3 villagers and a mob that they were scared of in order for them to try and produce an iron golem basically every 30 seconds. And then they have a 5-second cooldown after they've made it. And then they check for... Or no, it's a 30-second cooldown after they've made it, and then they check for iron golems around them every 5 seconds. So, previous to that, villagers would just make an iron golem every so often if there were enough doors and villagers in the area. And then if you killed the iron golem, they would make another one eventually. And a lot of it relied on manipulating village mechanics in some of the larger iron farms so that the villagers were, like, getting moved around by moving doors up and down using slime blocks and stuff. That's kind of how the Iron Titan style iron farms worked. And these farms are much simpler to build, arguably better, because they produce iron golems faster with fewer villagers, which means less lag for servers, and you don't have to wait ages for them to, like, reset and stuff. Grim, thank you for the 41 months. Another half year and it will have been 4 years. I know, right? Weird. We're all old. Hope you're doing well, Grim. Good to see you. How was the chili? It was good. It was very good. It was hotter than I expected. I put a lot of chipotle flakes in it. But, man, chipotle and red wine smells so good cooking together in a pot. It's, oh, I need to just make more stuff with that combination, regardless of what it is. You're the only one who hates the fletching table hasn't got a specific use. Believe me, you are not. There's a lot of people who have that very specific complaint. Am I using Bane of Arthropod's sword right now? No, just sharpness. I figure sharpness is good for everything, so I tend to use it for farms like this pretty often. Could mend the shovel, we could mend the pickaxe, but most of this is okay. We'll just clear out the last of the spiders and then head back. Fletching table function would be to make tipped arrows. That's the thing, that removes functionality from the Cauldron for Bedrock Edition and lingering potions from Java Edition. So, it's like... The thing about some of the villager workstations is that they duplicate functionality that's just from the crafting table. Like the grindstone only has one unique function that isn't part of the crafting table already. It's just a useful function. The fletching table has unique functionality because nothing else combines with netherite. But then, yeah, there is potential for the fletching table, if it had uses, to just remove uses from other crafting interfaces in the game, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like, why just shift that thing one block over to the left, you know? Hey, I can probably move some of this stuff back to my storage build now. Let's bring stuff like the minecarts as well, because those are relatively expensive. Yeah, the rest of that can stay there for now. We'll bring it back next time we're over here. Fletching table could make cheaper arrows, I guess, but then, again, if you use something like Infinity, you never need more arrows anyway. I know there's a bunch of people who prefer mending, but it's just one of those things that's only going to be useful to like a fraction of players. Can you use weakness arrows in curing villagers without it killing them? Yes. Make sure you're not using like a power 5 bow to shoot them. A dispenser's usually a good call. But you can obviously shoot something more softly if you like barely tap the bow, if you don't like draw it all the way back. But yeah, people use it as a dispenser because the dispenser can be like automated that way. You still need one arrow in your inventory with Infinity? Yes, but you don't need to craft cheaper arrows. Like, so the idea that the fletching table could craft arrows more cheaply doesn't really benefit players who use Infinity. Cheaper special arrows would be interesting and follow the stonecutter. I mean, it could do. It just seems like they're, you know, there wouldn't be any reason to add that now and not have added it before. So I feel like they've almost painted themselves into a corner a little bit with the fletching table, where they want to make sure that it is valuable to players. But if there isn't any like directly useful functionality, then players are just going to go, why didn't you do this before? It's been built up too much at this point. The expectation is too high. How do I know so much about the game? I've played it every day for like 7 years. I mean, I haven't played it every day for 7 years, but I play it more or less every day now and have been playing for 7 years, so... I've also got that kind of personality where I just want to become a know-it-all about whatever it is I'm playing. Would like to see the stone cutter be used for all blocks, but maybe it has a durability like the anvil. See, the anvil durability thing bugs me already. I kind of wouldn't want that for the stone cutter. I'd much rather they introduce like a separate block that's a wood cutter if you want to have like a block like that be able to make cheaper stairs for you all the time. That's not your house. Skeletal beekeeper. Maybe a new crossbow bolt for Fletchers. That's interesting. Like, that's got potential. Give more value to the crossbow. I feel like firework arrows in a crossbow is always an interesting... Like... I don't really rate crossbows except firework arrows are just OP. Or you can make them OP anyway. And yeah, I guess that'll do. Can skeletons break their bows? No, they can't. Pillagers are the only mobs that can break their equipment. I've heard people say Vindicators can, but I've never seen a Vindicator use its axe enough to find out. Let's put these in here with the rails. Are we going to make the storage my main home again? Probably not. Like, it helps to start out here in some episodes because all of the blocks are here for whatever projects we're doing, but I don't think it's going to be my main house. It's kind of why I built it up here on the hill as well, so it's like we start over there, we walk over here to do stuff. Hunter with the 9 months. Thank you so much for the 9 months. Welcome on in. Wouldn't want a Vindicator to get close enough to use their axe enough to break. Yeah, and the thing about pillagers is that they can effectively use their crossbow without it hitting something, which is how you get them to break their crossbows, whereas melee attacks only take durability if you physically hit the thing. Like, you can fire an arrow and have it be completely ineffective and still take durability. If a Johnny Vindicator breaks his axe, will he punch everything? I think so, because I think you can spawn Vindicators without equipment using commands, and they will still try and melee attack stuff. The reason pillagers don't is they don't have a melee attack, like, programmed into their behavior. Have I fixed the honey farm? No. I think the only fix for the honey farm is going to be removing all of the azalea leaves and saplings from around there. Making sure the only flowers the bees can access are the ones inside the farm. Which kind of compromises the design of the house, because I really enjoyed having the flowers, like, up the side of the house. So I'm trying to think of some alternate designs for that, but in the meantime I'm fine just leaving it, because we don't need honey blocks for a while. Alright, I'm going to just run to get some water real quick. Bear with me. Just going to pause the game and we'll be back in a few minutes' time. And we're back. Hello, hello. The Minecraft chair survival guide. Chair survives, chair thrives. Alright, let's do the thing. Let's grow the tree. Gonna continue with dark oak for now. We might farm a bit more spruce. Maybe a bit more birch. Bizarre though it is to farm birch when we are surrounded by it. Does Minecraft Java pause? You can pause it in a number of ways. If you're on a single player world, pressing escape pauses the game. So you'll notice the horses over here aren't moving. Even if we put down a torch, you'll notice that the torch particles also stop moving. You can also press F3 and escape, which is how you'll see some people pause it, where they like have game paused, but a couple of different options for you. Would I use map art instead of azalea leaves? No, probably not. Bedrock doesn't pause. I know. Yet another reason that I end up preferring Java, frankly. Like, Java will pause the game if you're writing something on a sign. It's valuable. Because I don't want it to get dark while I'm still thinking about what to write on this sign. Yeah, there's some texture things that still happen, like the enchantment still glows, that kind of stuff. But don't I get all netherite tools? Frankly, I just haven't felt like going to mine way more ancient debris yet. I like mining it with TNT, and I don't have much TNT left. I could go manually mining it, I could use the bed method, but I don't really like doing either. And it's not super necessary, because all we'd get out of it is more durability and a bit more fireproofness. Does Bedrock single player not have the pause menu on escape? It has the menu, it doesn't have the pause. Only thing I like on Bedrock is you can bone meal the small flowers. I like the fact that you can dye cauldrons. I've heard trident killers are quite good. They don't work on Java at all. Is it true that netherite tools float in lava? Yes. Can show you if you like. Don't know where I've got a lava bucket, but I'm sure I have one somewhere. Netherite tools, netherite ingots, ancient debris, all float in lava. Lava source? No, we have a bucket. Lava source. Witness they float. How would I feel if it didn't work and my tool burnt up? I mean, I would not have done it because I would have known that. Kind of feels like obsidian ought to as well. As fair. What you shouldn't do is throw your netherite tools against cactus. Cactus is the most destructive force in the game. It will destroy anything maliciously. It does not care. Cactus is cruel and unfeeling. There is no cactus-proof armor or weapons. Cactus, the true boss of Minecraft. Cactus Dragon when? Yet you can have an inventory full of cactus without harm. I feel like you're carrying it from underneath. Like, all of the cactus is just, like, balanced on your fingertips. Even cactus isn't immune to cactus, I know, right? Self-destructive tendencies. Imagine cactus weapons, look no further than Terraria for that. Cactus sword, cactus armor. Realized we were running low on saplings because I'm planting these trees so close together. So we might as well just tear these up. Best way to get 30 XP levels in early game? Honestly, go to the nether, mine quartz. As long as you've got gold armor. Quartz is one of the more effective ways of getting XP. Either that or redstone, but quartz in the nether is everywhere. Redstone you have to go pretty far down in the world for. Honestly, the best way of getting 30 XP levels in early game is to not die. Because you'll accumulate them naturally just over the course of early game anyway, but I don't want to just be like, get good, when people ask me how to earn XP. It's not a productive answer. Villagers are also good. Yeah, I second the people saying villagers. It's sometimes tricky finding a village, but if you don't want to go to the nether, villages are a very good source of XP. Like, chop down a bunch of trees, trade sticks to the Fletchers, buy the good stuff from the librarians and the clerics. Never seen a community figure run thorns on their armor since its introduction? No, because most community figures realize that it's useful to be able to move mobs around, and if they hit you occasionally, they don't want those mobs to die. I think that's the main reason, is because if you're, say, setting up an iron farm, the zombie is going to punch you occasionally, because that's just a lot of the time you're nudging zombies into very specific locations. And if you have thorns on your armor, big ol' mess. Zombie dies, you have to start over. Like, I don't find thorns very helpful outside of the context of, like, maybe PvP. Nether spawn was basically Nether skyblock, terrified to do anything. Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, if you've got an easy method of transport in the overworld, like a horse or something, just go 500 blocks away and build another nether portal. Or, if you don't mind dying and losing a bunch of XP, put all of your weapons, armor, items, like anything in your inventory, including your shield or whatever, into a chest in the overworld, step through to the nether, break the nether portal, and then, like, fall into the lava and then die. You'll lose your XP, but everything else will still be fine. And then build another nether portal and see where that ends up. Because chances are it'll just generate one somewhere completely different. Or alternatively, yeah, if you don't want to fall in the lava and die, you then bring a handful of cobblestone with you and start bridging. As long as you don't have any items on you, then dying is going to potentially be frightening, but you'll recover from it very quickly. Tried that but forgot to take off my armor, which is why I specified take off the armor, because it's so easy to forget. You're like, you open the inventory of a chest, and you're like, oh, I don't have anything else. Like, all of my inventory is empty, and then you fall in lava with your full diamond set, and you're like, oh, okay. Should probably remember that. Which one's Silk Touch? This one. Instructions unclear through armor and lava, basically. What are we up to today? Chopping! Our usual Tuesday routine. Although we haven't done a chopping Tuesday for what seems like a while, because I haven't needed the wood. And now I've spent all of my wood on a storage system, and I need more of it to fill the storage system up. Don't I use the Vanilla Tweaks pack anymore? Which one? I have lower shield, which is on right now. Which I've now left on for long enough that I'm probably just going to do an episode about it and be like, you may have not noticed, but I was using lower shield this entire time. It's probably where it'll go. The armor enchant glint pack thing? No, I decided to leave that off. Because too many people were asking me, like, why isn't your armor enchanted? And also, this looks like vanilla Minecraft. I still don't like the way it makes netherite stuff look, because netherite is so dark and the enchantment glow is so bright, but... yeah, is what it is. Yeah, we need another, like, chest's worth of spruce, I think. Would I do an episode of on optimization mods? Yeah, I'm going to talk about Optifine and Sodium and everything later. Mostly, I don't need to use Optifine or Sodium right now, and considering that we're going to have a 1.18.2 update soon, I would rather talk about it once there is a quote-unquote final version of 1.18. Because that way it makes it easier for me to be like, these may not be updated right away when the next version comes out, so be warned, and people will still get a decent amount of mileage out of them. Plus, I'm not used to Sodium. I've never really used the Caffeine MC group of mods, so I would probably have to do a bit of research into those before I start discussing them from any position of authority. Yeah, the thing about an auto sorter is it's good for dumping like an entire inventory's worth of items. And in that case, the only thing I needed to put in the chest was one type of item. So why wait for it to transfer around all 50 hoppers that are in the storage system when I could just put it in there myself? When is 1.18.2 releasing? As soon as the Java Edition team have put it together, really. There's snapshots rolling out for it right now. They're making some tweaks to Badlands generation. They're doing a couple of other bits and pieces. But, I would presume sometime within the next couple of weeks, but that's not based on anything other than intuition. Which hooking an item with a fishing rod would bring it directly to you like it does when you catch something, instead of just like pulling it slightly in your direction. But then it'd have to work for all entities, so you'd be tugging a creeper directly into your own face as well. Spaces are ignored when seeds entered into the game. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. That's a another change. That's for parity with Bedrock, right? Because Bedrock now has 64-bit world gen, which is good. Creeper to the face. How do I not get bored of my world while making Let's Play series or simply just playing them? You get bored of your Minecraft world after playing it for an hour or two. Setting your own objectives is a good thing. In this case, because it's a Let's Play world, my objective is to make tutorials about everything I possibly can in Minecraft, which is a pretty hefty goal, so it will take a while. You've really just got to figure out what you want out of your world. If what you want is for it to just be a burner world where you play for a couple of hours, then that's totally fine. But if you decide, hey, I want to build like a city, obviously that's going to take some planning, but think about the stuff that you need to do to make that happen. Like, you'll probably need a decent way to farm gravel. That means a piglin bartering farm. You'll need a desert so that you can get hold of sand. Both of those get turned into concrete. You'll probably want to build a redstone concrete converter as well, or at least set up some kind of system where you can convert concrete pretty reliably, or, you know, build with concrete powder. Do a bunch of build tests, like mess around with some of that stuff. Figure out what it is that's tiring you out. Is it just the grind? If that's the case, like, maybe look into some stuff that makes that easier, whether it's automated farms or, like, mods if you're that interested in it, because, you know, if you're not enjoying the game and you feel like there might be quality of life things that make it easier for you, then, like, that might be just the way you prefer to play Minecraft. Also think making a backstory or lore to your world helps. It does if that's the kind of thing that motivates you. Like, if you're like, I want to see where the story goes and where my imagination will go. If you're the kind of person who likes to write fiction or kind of like make up little stories in your head about things, then that's going to suit you pretty well. Does TNT duping work in Bedrock? Not the way we do it in Java Edition, no. Because it's very much an unintended mechanic, so it hasn't really been coded into Bedrock the same way. It is a quirk of Java Edition's code that allows it to do what it does. You're the kind of person who just builds a giant melon farm inside of a giant melon pixel art for no reason. I mean, the reason being that you want to see that happen. Like, for some people, that's the only reason they need. You think it'd be a fun project. You think it'd be cool to do. What's the difference between Java and Bedrock duping? I don't honestly know if there is a way to duplicate primed TNT on Bedrock Edition. There might be ways to duplicate items in Bedrock Edition for all I know, so that you could farm a lot of TNT. But I don't think there is a way of duplicating TNT in the sense that we do on Java. Do I think raid farms are worth it? Worth what? That's the real question. I think they are worth it if you have something you want to do with the product of a raid farm. I think they are more worth it for players on servers because it means much easier access to infinite emeralds and infinite totems of undying. Plus saddles. I can get saddles from an AFK fish farm. If saddles aren't considered junk from fishing, they should be. On your SMP, you got handed a shulker full of totems by 2 people within 2 days. Seems about right. Yeah, I think raid farms have probably been more popular amongst people who play hardcore, because it's a way of avoiding losing your world. Are Enderman XP farms possible in Bedrock? Are they possible? Yes. Are they the same speed as Java? No, because Java Edition has different spawning rules than Bedrock Edition. But in theory, like, if you can spawn a group of mobs with certain level of guarantee in a specific area, you can make a farm out of it. It's just whether that farm is worth making because it's effective up to a certain point. Like, if you go to the end, the only thing that spawns there and respawns there will be Enderman. So yes, you can make an Enderman XP farm there. Can you make one that is better than farming XP from furnaces on Bedrock right now? Probably not. Can build them roughly the same way too. Low spawn rates, no sweeping edge, slow farm. Yeah. Was the I know the furnace XP glitch has been on the way out for a while. Is it patched out of an actual current Bedrock update? Because I know it was happening in betas. I know Prowl's been talking about it for a while. It's gone today? Oh, that's rough. I mean, there are still various mob spawners that you can convert into farms. There's still other ways of getting XP, but that's a real pain. I think it's just weird to me that they're doing that before they're implementing a replacement for it. Like, they have a replacement in mind. They have stuff like Skulk that you can effectively AFK. But I still think it's weird that they're making those changes just in the middle of another update. Like, it seems more... I know they're bug fixes, technically speaking, but it seems more, like, monumental to players than that. It's like if they removed the zombie pigman aggro thing before they implemented Skulk on Java, which they don't seem to be doing. They're talking about Skulk being the change. But they're not, like, removing zombie pigman aggro several updates beforehand. See you later, Wanda. Have a good one. Sleep well. Sausage just made an Enderman XP farm. It looked so easy, I'm scared. It's the Nembon Endermini style farm is very easy. It's like a platform where a bunch of Endermen spawn, and they spawn in massive quantities because they're the only thing that spawns in the end. You spawn in Endermites, so they always get drawn to the same place, but they're not aggroed towards the player, and you just kill them. The advantage, of course, being you can build effectively at the bottom of the world where spawning is most efficient in the end, because the end just has a void. You could do the same thing in the overworld with other mob spawns as well. It would just be a case of digging your way down to Bedrock and having a spawn-proof perimeter for 128 blocks in every direction. And then the mobs wouldn't necessarily come to you in the same way that the Endermen do. I think the wildest thing to me is that zombie pigman farms on the nether roof, where spawning is probably at its weakest, are still more effective than Enderman farms built in the void. And that's pretty wild. Imagine a zombie pigman farm at the bottom of the world. Honestly, like, you could probably make the farm a bit smaller, but I don't know if it would make that much of a difference. Can you go on the nether roof in Bedrock? You can go there. You won't be able to do anything because they've got a hard programmed height limit, which Java doesn't have. I mean, it has it, but it's at 256 instead of 128. How much longer am I planning on going? Yeah, 20 minutes. We'll finish up at 6 p.m. my time. Why do some items only stack to 16? An arbitrary decision made when the items were implemented. I mean, with stuff like ender pearls, it's probably more like a nerf based on how powerful they are functionally. What's up, Nate? Thank you for the 1,000 bits. Are you off? No worries. Have a good one. Dual Keys, thank you for the Prime sub earlier as well. And Asas, thank you for the 16 months. Sorry if I missed those when they were coming on through. Yeah, but the, like with ender pearls, it's like, there are multiple layers of answers here. One, they're round, as opposed to everything else being a square, so you can imagine it being harder to stack them together. I think the same excuse really applies to glass bottles. But then Eyes of Ender stack to 64. Why is that? It's because they don't have the same functionality as ender pearls. Ender pearls have a cooldown now, but they didn't used to, so you could effectively hold down the right mouse button and just constantly be chucking ender pearls. And then you'd be teleporting all over the place when they landed, but the idea is, you know, that functionality is A, quite powerful, and B, would kill you. Because the damage that gets done to you. So I get the sense that they reduced stack sizes for a couple of reasons. The main one was functionality. Eggs is the other one. Snowballs. They used to do more damage as well. As projectiles, snowballs and eggs used to actually deal a very small amount of damage, so you could push a player back, keep them at range, and deal like chip damage to them by throwing eggs. They've nerfed that since, and snowballs are going to be stackable to 64 once the combat update happens that Jeb was working on a while ago, which we've not heard very much about other than the fact that, you know, it's still intended eventually, just other stuff has happened since. Wish eggs stacked to a dozen. It'd be more realistic, wouldn't it? Signs, yeah, same thing. I think with signs, it's also just the fact that, you know, placing them is more of a process. And so, I don't know. It seems relatively arbitrary. But you're also putting 6 wood into each sign, you know? Do I think Deep Slate should be able to be crafted into Deep Slate variants? Honestly, yes. Like, I find having Silk Touch Deep Slate kind of annoying, and the fact that it's the inverse of stone, where you need to craft cobblestone into stone to get all of the bricks and stuff. It's like the opposite with Deep Slate, where you need cobbled Deep Slate to make all of those. But frankly, I don't mind all that much. I just, like, I've memorized the fact that I need to switch to my Fortune Pickaxe if I'm mining Deep Slate, and that's all I really need, but it's just kind of, yeah, one of those things that I need to remember. I believe Joel Duggan was talking about this, where he has a Vanilla Tweaks recipe pack that adds in crafting recipes for everything using regular Deep Slate. Like, it makes sense. Is the bee farm still broken? I believe so, yeah. I don't need honey blocks for a whole lot right now. We'll use them a lot later in the series, but I'm mostly just looking at that build as it is right now before I have to take down all of the azalea leaves. Or at least the flowering azalea leaves. How do you craft honey blocks again? 4 bottles of honey in a 2x2. So yeah, they're all still trying to get outside of the farm. The only reason these ones aren't in this corner is because of the collision between the others, and this hasn't produced any more bottles of honey. But we have more than a stack's worth of honey blocks in there, so I think that's gonna be okay for the time being. the video where I describe what's broken about it, the farm. The bees are trying to pathfind to the azalea leaves around the outside. And no matter what combinations of blocks I put around the bees, they still try and pathfind through solid blocks. Honey blocks are exactly the same as slime blocks. Not quite. They have some of the same functionality, but some of their functionality is fundamentally different. Slime blocks will bounce entities, honey blocks will not. You still limit your fall damage when you fall onto them. Items slide down the side of honey blocks more slowly. Items stick to the surface of honey blocks, which means, you know, an entity like a mob or a player will have a harder time jumping to the full height from a honey block. Like, it prevents your jump height a little bit. It also allows you to move mobs and items around on top of the honey block. If the honey block is moved, the mob or item moves, which isn't the same with slime blocks. You can jump off a honey block because there's a 1 pixel border around the outside of where you're still technically standing on the block, but the honey doesn't take effect. So there's actually a way of jumping from a honey block, which I can probably demonstrate if I have them in my storage system already. Like, we'll get into this functionality of honey blocks in the series itself, but it's pretty useful to know. Akalika, thanks so much for that Prime sub. Brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the pixels. An entire pixel, yes, but considering that the blocks are 16 by 16 pixels, like, that's actually quite a lot in Minecraft terms. That is 1/16 of the block. Although technically, because it's a border around the outside, it's a lot more than that. But see, if I grab these honey blocks from here, like, if I'm standing on top of this, I try and jump up and down, I'm clearly not jumping as high, right? If I shift to the edge of this honey block, I can jump my full height here, and you don't get the squish sound. Like, I can jump from here up onto spruce log there, but if I try and jump that, like, from the center of the honey block, no way I'm making that. Like, you have to be, like, just on the edge of the honey block. It's very tricky to finesse if you're not used to it. Slime blocks conduct redstone, honey blocks don't. Correct, yes, another difference between them. Because honey blocks are not full blocks, which slime blocks are. Just gonna go and kill these glow squid. I need glow ink. There's a whole bunch of them down here. I still haven't got the advancement for using glow ink on a sign. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. And again, I want to do that on camera, so sort of imperative that I have some glow ink to do that with. I think I got all of that. I wish the item entity glowed as much as the squid do. Love a glow squid. Zin the Destroyer, welcome in. Thank you for the kind words. Video camera, not stream camera. Yes. Is netherite gear affected by TNT and creeper explosions? I mean, if you're wearing it, yes. Item entities can still be destroyed. They are fireproof, but they are not bomb-proof. So yes, if you have item entities on the ground, like even ancient debris, which is blast-proof when it's placed in the world as a block, ancient debris items can be destroyed by explosions, which is why mining with the wither is a bad idea. Do I have depth strider? Yes. Depth strider, respiration, aqua affinity, all that stuff. Is the wait for the new Hermitcraft season killing me too? Not especially, because it means I have more free time on the weekends. Is it me or does this... This track has weird, like, honey slurpy noises in it. I don't like it very much. Sounds like somebody trying to walk across a muddy field. What is that? No. If I wanted noises like that in my songs, I'd be going back and jumping up and down on the honey block again. Crunchy mud. Sheep noises with the wool farm and now honey noises with the honey demonstration. I know. Pretzel is listening. Sylvan Feather, thank you so much for the 3 months of Prime. Appreciate that very much. Thank you, thank you. Do I think I could build giant mega bases like people do in Hermitcraft? Could I? Probably. Am I going to? Maybe. When am I going to do that? Not right now. Here's the thing. Tutorial on a giant base is one thing, but tutorials about builds in general... There we go. Tutorials about builds tend to be kind of niche in that not everybody is going to want to build that stuff along with you, especially if the size is so big that only somebody who plays Minecraft full-time could really take on a base of that size in the time I'd be explaining it. So honestly, like, yeah, it sort of depends how popular build tutorials are going to get. Castle on a mountain don't count as mega. No, they do. It's just that I didn't call them mega because I feel like terms like mega base are just there to over-sensationalize something. What's up, Soulflame? Doing well, thank you very much. Will we get some new material in future that would be completely blast-proof? I mean, maybe. I think it's kind of would have like niche uses. Like, it'd be nice to have your gear not destroyed by the wither if you end up getting killed by it, but I can't think of many cases in which preventing an item from being destroyed in an explosion would really be that valuable. Then again, I'm not somebody who dies in Minecraft all that often. I've not really been blown up by TNT very frequently, and frankly, if I did, it was my own fault, so... Have I tried Minecraft in VR? No, I don't own any VR equipment. I've only done anything in VR once, and I played Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, and it was pretty fun, but not the kind of thing I want to invest in myself. Threw my trident at a super creeper, charged it and died losing my gear. That's the thing, though. The creeper explosion wasn't what destroyed my equipment, it was the lightning. And again, that has only happened to me once. I believe it happened to ZF and Tango at one point as well, but like, that's the kind of thing that's not going to happen to the average player, so how important is it that the average player's items remain blast-proof? Like, I'm willing to be talked around on this, but... Know that regular hoppers won't pick items from farmland in Bedrock? Maybe farmland is just treated as a full block, I guess. See you later, Obu. Hope the work meeting goes well. We're about to wrap up here anyway, so you're not going to miss a whole bunch. I'm just going to deliver this spruce to my storage system and we'll call it a day, I think. Got to go and edit tomorrow's video. Mega is a prefix meaning 1 million. Exactly, and I don't think many people put 1 million blocks into their mega bases. Because I only spent, what, 200,000 stone to build the mountain that I built, the mountain range that I built in Survival Guide Season 1. So I doubt quite strongly that some of the mega bases I've seen actually had 1,000,000 blocks in. If they did, fair play. We have 1 spruce leaf to deliver here. And I think that is where we're going to call it for today. Mazalian Empire wasn't too far off. Maybe not. Yeah, that's where we'll wrap up for today. Folks, thank you so much for being here. Do appreciate you all hanging out. And we're going to be raiding somebody else who's playing Minecraft here on Twitch. My partner is also live if you're interested in watching some calligraphy happening. They're practicing the ring inscription for a copywork project where they're writing out the entirety of Lord of the Rings by hand using fountain pens and practicing handwriting, all that kind of stuff. That's twitch.tv/celerymin if you're interested. Which Ginger has just dropped a link to in chat. We're going to raid Azuma, who is currently playing Stoneblock 1.12. Been a while since we've said hi to Azuma, so might as well drop in on his stream. It is twitch.tv/Azuma. Yeah, goods. So yeah, go say hi to Azuma. I've got to renew my sub over there. Don't forget you can use your pixel hype emotes and the hashtag pixelraid to show some love. Appreciate you all being here. We'll be back on Thursday with a bit more action from the Minecraft Survival Guide, or maybe even a bit more bingo randomizer, depending on where I'm at with the whole dragon fight thing. That's going to be it from me. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.